Welcome. First things first, let's Om. Take a deep breath and let it all out. Inhale for our first Om. Do one. Welcome once again. Here am I, as I promised to tell you a story that helped me in a great deal to let go and surrender to forces that we cannot possibly know but govern our life. I always like stories, including fairy tales, legends, and folk stories, all of them, but when I started to read the myths from the Indian tradition, they truly, truly touched the deepest depth of my heart and helped me better understand some big questions in life. They also supported me in developing discrimination in the sense of when to take action and when to surrender. It is not easy to be still and surrender. However, by knowing that there are very large forces are in action makes the process of letting go a bit easier. So the following story is exactly about these very large forces in action. It is the backstory of the Indian epic Ramayana, which is about the adventures of Rama and the story that I love dearly. So in this story, Rama seems to be a human, but really he is the incarnation of Vishnu, who is responsible for the maintenance of the universe. It was time for Vishnu to incarnate in a human body, as this was the only way to take care of some serious business on this planet called Earth. And this serious business was in the shape of an asura. The asura can be translated as a demon, but it's much more than that. But for now, let's just stay with this translation of demon, the villain of the story, and his name is Ravana. He too practiced devotion towards the gods and got some very powerful boons that almost gave him immortality. But in his arrogance, he forgot to ask for protection from monkeys, as he looked down on them. So, as in these stories usually happen, Shiva comes to the rescue and takes birth as a monkey. As you can imagine, he's not going to be just any ordinary monkey, but a powerful, wise, and a most humble one. And his name is Hanuman. The plot thickens when Ravana kidnaps Rama's wife, Sita, and takes her back to his remote island, Lanka. Rama desperately searches the continent, the Indian continent, to find his beloved, when one day he receives a sign to head south and find Hanuman. After some mischief, he finds Hanuman and they instantly recognize their divine connection. Rama embraces Hanuman, and once they help Sugriva, the true king of the monkeys, to claim his empire back, they are ready to rescue Sita. The army of monkeys travel to the south, where after they cross the ocean. Rama leads them into a battle against Ravana and his minions. Now let us pause here and understand an important element of these mythological stories that was most confusing for me for the longest time. It was always said that when the villains got killed, they were not actually killed but freed. Wait, what? What does this mean? It did seem to me that they were very much slayed, for sure, killed, slaughtered, eradicated, finished, period. And this is where things get interesting in these stories, because they have many layers, many different layers. So back to our storyline, where Rama, along with Hanuman leading the monkey armies, arrive in Lanka, and after a long, intense battle, they free Ravana from his Asura body. Same with his giant brother Kumbhakarna, who also dies freed from his Asura body on the battlefield. So, why on earth this phrase is used that the villains Ravana and Kumbhakarna were freed from their battles, from their bodies? Sorry. Take a wild guess. Because they were the good guys in their previous lives. But they made a mistake and were cursed to be born into the body of Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So here is the backstory. Are you ready? Of the Ramayana for so here's the backstory of the Ramayana for you that I recently heard while studying the Hanuman Chalisa, but that is a story for another day. So Rama didn't just happen to go after Ravana and conquer him because he abducted his wife, Sita. This was actually meant to happen. The kidnapping, Rama being exiled, all of it. Because a long time ago, even before the Ramayana took place, in the celestial abode of Vishnu lived Jaya and Vijaya, who were the gatekeepers of Vishnu's estate. They are very dedicated to Vishnu and took their job of safekeeping the gate very, very seriously. One day, the 4 sons of Brahma came to the gate. They are called the Brahmat Kumaras, literally meaning the sons of Brahma, and appear to be little boys, but they are extremely knowledgeable. They know the Vedas inside out. They are actually the holders of the Vedas that contain the supreme teachings. So they came to the gate to have a meeting with Vishnu. But when they were about to enter, Jaya and Vijaya stopped them, won't let them in because they don't have an appointment. They failed to recognize their importance and realized that they should make an exception by granting them access to Vishnu. This action of Jaya and Vijaya not seeing the Brahmat Kumaras, the 4 little brothers, sons of Brahma, for who they actually are, results in them getting cursed. The 4 little boys curse the gatekeepers that they may be born on earth as human beings so they will know what suffering means. At this point, Vishnu comes to the gate and asks the 4 brothers to please forgive Jaya and Vijaya. Vishnu points out to the brothers that Jaya and Vijaya are very devoted to him and they did not know who they were. They made an honest mistake out of ignorance. Vishnu also tries to ask the brothers to take their curse back, but it is impossible. The only thing that they can do is to add to it. So they offer them two choices. Choice number one is that they have to take 7 births as Krishna's devotees. And after the 7 births, they can come back to Vishnu's abode. Choice number two, that they can only take 3 births, but as Krishna's opponents, as Krishna's enemies, Vishnu's enemies. And after those 3 births, they can come back to his gatekeepers once again. Because they can't stay away from Vishnu too long, they choose the later without any hesitation. They said they would be rather his enemy for those 3 births, which is a much shorter time, and then get back to him as soon as possible. Next, Vishnu promises that he will incarnate with them in those 3 births, so he will be there to liberate them, to free them from their human bodies in each birth as soon as they complete their quest. So, it was during the Ramayana that their second birth took place as Ravana and Kumbhakarna. So Ravana and Kumbhakarna took birth, and they were originally Jaya and Vijaya, the gatekeepers. And Vishnu came into the body of Rama to liberate them when they fulfilled their purpose. So even though some parts of the Ramayana seem unjust and do not make sense if we just stay in the framework of Rama's adventures, but when we rise above the level of it and know the backstory of Jaya and Vijaya, we gain an understanding of the bigger picture. This, rising above the framework of Ramayana, the act of opening our more divine eyes to the unknown, could result in us giving space to surrender to the fact that there are bigger and more powerful forces are in action in the universe that know better how to operate the world than us. Understanding that not everything is about us, by knowing that there are much bigger universal forces are in action, could support us in surrendering to these very, very large forces a bit easier, perhaps. I know that this story helped me a great deal recently when I felt that the universe was completely against me and wouldn't give me the reward that I was sure deserved through all my hard work. This and other stories from the yogic tradition helped me to have a bit more faith in the storyline of the divine forces, who, although mysterious, invisible, and for us whom humans unknown, yet seem to know how our story needs to be unfolded. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been gone for a long time by now. So I hope this story is helping you to understand that there are much bigger forces are in action, and these forces actually trustworthy. So we can surrender them. We can surrender to the unknown, which is a great adventure to live up to, but it's also one of the purpose of the goal of this mysterious practice that we are engaging in called yoga. So I hope you enjoyed it and it was also helpful for you. Sending you much love. Namaste.